Hello friends and welcome back to Bookshelves. Today I'm coming at you with a very quick recommendation video for books that are going to add to the summer vibes that are already in your life. Summer here in the city has been absolutely beautiful thus far this year. I have really loved seeing our new neighborhood come into bloom, and I hope it's beautiful where you are. These are 5 books I recommend for perfect summer reading that feature sun, sand, and a little bit of adventure. Let's go ahead and jump in. First on this list is The Stardust Thief. This book features desert sands and a classic sort of fantasy quest storyline. This book follows a young merchant and her Jinn companion who are wrapped up against their will in the plot of their king. He sends them on a quest, very forcibly, with the prince, the crown prince, and all kinds of adventures unfold from there. This is such a fun story. I feel like a quest story is perfect for summer, and the setting in this book is absolutely salient throughout the whole book. You really feel the sand and the sun beating down on them in their journeys. I read this 2 summers ago now, and it made for a perfect read. It was fast and kept me engaged the whole night through. Next on this list is Bandit Queens, a revenge story set under the Indian sun. I'm obsessed with this book. So many more people should be reading it. It did, I think, make the International Booker Prize for Women list last year. Is that true? The Women's Prize for Fiction? Or the International Booker. I think it was the Women's Prize in Fiction. This book follows a woman whose husband left many years ago. He was very abusive, and since he left, she has been characterized by the people in her village as a sort of pariah, a witch. Everybody thinks she killed him. And she has kind of gotten used to this life of isolation until one day a woman from her microloan group comes to her and says, "Hey, I know what you did to your husband, and I need you to help me do it to mine too." And she, through a series of comedy of errors, gets wrapped up into helping other women in the village escape their terrible husbands by way of murder. So this book has all of the paciness of a thriller, because you know that murders are happening or going to happen. It's hysterical. It has such a funny voice. And here again, that setting of the sort of heat in India. If you want a book that will absolutely suck you in, that is so immersive, and will absolutely keep you gripped, that is the perfect book to pick up. Next on this list is Priory of the Orange Tree. And in terms of pacing, this is about as far away from Bandit Queens as we could go. Priory is an epic high fantasy story that is set across many different locations on a grand continent in a fantasy world. But the Priory itself, the Priory of the Orange Tree, is a setting we spent quite a lot of time in the book. It is so verdant and incredibly lush, and it has all this warmth of sun shining in it. And all of the folks who live there are functionally fire mages. So there is both fire magic in this story, as well as this really lush, beautiful, natural setting. The book covers all kinds of great stuff. It's got royal and political intrigue. It's got dragons. It's got world-ending stakes. This book appeals to me for lots of reasons, but I honestly think that beautiful setting and those fire mages make this book a great fit for summer to begin with. But I also like that because it is such an absolute brick of a book, it's a book that you can really take your time with. So there is sort of in the opposite of like a great pacey book that you can't put down in the summer. There's something about the like laziness of summer where you just like find a little bit of time to go sit somewhere and read, and you're really in a story for an entire season. It takes me like more than a month to read these books. There's something about that feeling that also makes us feel so great for summer to me. So if you don't mind bringing your patience to the table and having a story sit with you for a lot of the summer, Priory is a great option as well. Another fantastic book to read in the summer is Kindred by Octavia Butler. This is a technically sci-fi, but mostly historical fiction book that follows a woman from the 1970s who keeps getting sucked back in time to the antebellum South against her will. And she can't quite understand. Somebody's honking outside. Can't quite understand why this is happening to her. It's obviously incredibly dangerous for her to be in the antebellum South in the time of slavery, right, as a Black woman. And she has no control over how she got there or how she gets back home. So the book has all of the suspense and urgency of a thriller, with incredibly high stakes because of the incredible violence that was faced by people who were enslaved in this period of time. And it also just has that like thick Southern heat to it. Like the whole book, you just feel sweaty. You can really feel the setting very strongly in the story as well. So another book that is unputdownable, with incredibly compelling themes and a summer feel. That heat is ever present in this book. And last but not least on this quick recommendation video is Percy Jackson. I love the Percy Jackson books, and I don't just mean the original series. I think all of the continuations of the books have been really nicely done as well. But I think that summer camp setting is so perfect to pick up for a summer read. Here again, we have another fantastic adventure-focused story, which for me just feels very summer. I don't know if it's the kinds of books I would read on summer break when I was a kid or what, but the adventure, that compelling what's going to come next in the story sensibility is very present here. And the fun of that summer camp setting is perfect for this time of year. I will add too that if you, like me, read Percy Jackson when you were a kid, there is something to books that have that nostalgia that I think also is a real value add to picking up Percy Jackson this year, right? Because there's all of the joy of the actual story. And then there's the added layer of like nostalgia and joy and memories from your childhood about what this story meant to you, where you might have first read it, the things that stood out to you at the time. So I think picking up a middle grade story like Percy Jackson would be fantastic. I guess I should say, if you don't know what Percy Jackson is, it's a middle grade story. It follows a boy who's a demigod, which means that he has a parent who is a Greek god and a parent who is a human. And it follows him on all kinds of adventures where he usually starts at Camp Half-Blood, which is a sort of safe haven for demigods like Percy. I think revisiting Percy Jackson this summer could be a great deal of fun. That's it. Those are 5 perfect books to pick up this summer that will fill your reading days with some sand, sun, and summer adventure. I would love to know what you're reading this summer. And if you have other books that you think are perfect for evoking this season, drop them in the comments down below. Thanks for being here. I'll see you in my next one. Bye.